George Wagner accused of carrying out a plan to kill 8 members of a neighboring family with the help of his brother and his parents. Today, we were expected that the trial would have started by now, but we got word overnight a juror is sick in this trial, so court is dark today. It's unclear if testimony is going to pick up back tomorrow or if this will be a multi-day delay, but the bottom line is no court today in Ohio. Court TV legal correspondent Joylyn Nakrin has been covering this case for us and has the latest on what happened yesterday.
We expect to hear more from detectives after the lead investigator testified yesterday that whoever killed the Rhoden family clearly knew them.
How did 3 people in 3 different rooms get shot and killed in their sleep and nobody woke up to defend themselves? So that was one of the things that was really on our, how does that occur? Now, we knew there was a .22 used, at least we thought there was a .22 used because of the shell casing that was located under the crib in Hannah's room. So at that time, we have to speculate, and we're like, well, maybe there was a suppressor that was used on the end of the firearm. But to me, it seemed like the people responsible for this knew the scenes and knew the people.
Bureau of Criminal Investigations agent Ryan Scheiderer told jurors the clear lack of DNA and other evidence on the scenes indicated the attacks were planned and premeditated. And there was another detail that suggested the killer had inside knowledge about the victims' lives and habits.
It seemed that the perpetrators, the suspects, knew the locations because we learned that on scene 3 that they had just moved into that location. Again, we started asking family members and friends who all knew about them living here, and it was a very short list of people that knew that that residence was occupied.
He also testified the marijuana growth operation was not likely the motive, since none of the marijuana was missing. His testimony came after criminal intelligence agent Julia Esvalage told the jury about the phone data she analyzed, which revealed Hannah Mae Rhoden was texting with Jake Wagner the night she was killed.
At 9:02 p.m., an outgoing text message to Jake Wagner. At 9:03 p.m., an incoming text message from Kendra Rhoden. At 9:03, an incoming text from Jake Wagner. At 9:07, an incoming text from Kendra Rhoden. 9:07, an incoming text from Jake Wagner.
The content of those messages was not available since Hannah's phone was missing. Earlier in the day, the jury heard from shoe print evidence expert Suzanne Elliott. She revealed that Walmart brand Athletic Works shoes were retrieved from the trash can of Leonard Manley, the father of Dana Rhoden. But she testified that the treads were too worn to have left the prints at the crime scene. The defense honed in on that detail about the shoes, getting the lead investigator to admit that the shoes were retrieved from Manley's trash can in May of 2016, weeks after the killings. Reporting in Pike County, Ohio, Joylyn Nakrin, Court TV.
Our thanks to Joy. Still with us, criminal defense attorney Eric Faddis and law professor at Roosevelt University, Natasha Robinson. Natasha, this case, the state of Ohio has a complicated case to explain to jurors when you have 8 victims, 4 crime scenes, multiple ballistics, and the shoe prints. It's a lot, and it's building piece by piece by piece. But so far, there hasn't been anything that links George Wagner to any of this. Is that a concern, do you think, overall in this case, or is it just part of a very complicated prosecution that it's taking the time needed?
I think that 2 things can be true at the same time. So I would say I agree with both. I agree with the fact that because it is a very complicated and nuanced case having to do with the 8 victims and the 4 crime scenes, and that the prosecution has to be very meticulous in setting up their case in chief by stating the reason why we're taking 13 and 14 days to lay this all out is because we have the burden of proof. And if anything is overlooked or undermined, then that means that we lose. I also believe that something's going to have to be tied up soon, because right now, the prosecution started with the emotional witnesses, which were, members of the family. But in terms of tying all of this egregious criminal activity to George Wagner, that has not yet been established, and that is what the defense is harping upon. And every time they make an objection or they are making their record, they're setting it up for an appeal in the event that George is in fact convicted.
Eric, the opening statement from the defense was basically, yeah, he's a Wagner, but he isn't Jake Wagner, and he's not Angela or George Sr. He is George Wagner, who didn't participate. And we ask you to look for the evidence tying him there. It seems as though at this point, because we've heard from about all 4 crime scenes and the evidence collected, that Jake is the key here. Jake and Angela, they have pled guilty. They are expected to testify. And this might come down to brother v. brother.
Yeah, it could get brutal in that courtroom with these family members testifying against one another. I agree with Natasha that they haven't really shown a significant amount of culpability for George Wagner, the defendant on trial. You know, when you have these complicated scenarios where there are multiple criminal actors, some of those actors are more involved than others. And so far, we just haven't heard a lot about George Wagner's direct involvement. And, you know, perhaps his defense is going to set something up like a guilty by association kind of defense that, hey, he's part of this family and the family was involved in these murders, but there's no significant evidence that George Wagner was there. However, let's see what happens when George Wagner's family members take the stand and likely testify against him. It should be fireworks in that courtroom.
It's being portrayed by the state of Ohio, Natasha, that you have 2 families. You have the Rhoden clan and the Wagner clan. They live out in rural Pike County, and they are fighting over a 2-year-old, and the Wagners are one for all and all for one. And there's no reason to believe that George wasn't aware of this and part of the planning, because logistically, how could he live in this environment while all this planning is going on and not know about it? Does that fly in your mind?
Emotionally and factually, yes. Legally, no. Because right now there still nothing has been proven to indicate that he should be held criminally accountable because of something that his family did. Right now it's, well, let's get, you know, everyone who is involved. Now, is it unlikely that all of this was going on and he knew nothing about it? Probably not. But knowing something is not what he's being tried for. He's being tried for this murder. And so it has to be both the mindset and the criminal activity. And right now, while there is an overwhelming mountain of evidence, none of it has been directly or indirectly linked to George Wagner at this time.
Yeah, it's fascinating as we watch this play out. Again, the breaking news this morning, a juror has fallen ill, so court will be dark today, and that's all we know. Could be dark tomorrow. They might be back at it tomorrow. Our team is in Pike County, Ohio, and we'll update throughout the day, but the headline, no court today.